Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Onmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatam Ahang Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Nama Ong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Charu Swaminiti Namine Nama Ong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyabari Pastata Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Shri Gadadha, Shivasari, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, we continue with chapter 10, chapter 11. So, anybody wants to summarize what was discussed in chapter 3? What were the themes? How does the chapter flow? And what are some of the essential points that Srila Prabhupada brought up from the purport? All right, so we'll go straight into chapter 11. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so chapter 11. So this is your study manual. In chapter 11, Krishna proves himself as the Supreme Lord and establishes the criterion that anyone who claims to be God must also show a Virat Rupa. And in the previous chapter, Arjuna requested Krishna to explain, because in chapter 7 and chapter 8, one of Arjuna's questions was, how do I remember you? So Arjuna wanted Krishna to tell him more about how to remember him. And Krishna did that. And he ended the chapter with a fragment of myself, I pervade this entire universe. So, all right. So yeah, so that's how the chapter ended, and Arjuna, as we discussed previously, towards the end of the chapter, we begin to see an excitement in Arjuna, an emotion that we hadn't seen before. We've seen depression, we've seen anxiety in Arjuna, but now here is in the end of the chapter, we see a combination of emotions. There's a fear that comes in, but there's also an excitement that comes in, which, as I explained, is the build up to Arjuna showing his emotions before and after seeing this Virat Rupa. So this chapter will be a visual demonstration of those vibhutis that Krishna described in the previous chapter. And Arjuna will require Divyam Chakshus to actually see these opulences embodied in Krishna. So just to break it down in terms of the verses that you could say are important, not your key memory verses. Your key memory verses, you'll have to look them up in the book. These are some of the verses that give you a sort of an idea and a theme. So the first would be 3 and 4, where Arjuna requests the universal form. And then in 8, Krishna grants Arjuna the divine vision, the Divya Chakshush, so Arjuna could see, because nobody has ever seen this Divya Chakshush. Well, actually, a few people, but it was partial. Okay, let's move this here. And then 13 to 14, Arjuna beholds that majestic cosmic form. And then that build-up of emotions that began in chapter 10 intensifies in text number 23 and 25. There's a fear and awe at the same time. If you read the Nectar of Devotion, Vaishnavas are experts at emotions. Srila Rupa Goswami and the Acharyas have analyzed emotions, and there are various movements, there are various combinations, and so forth. And one of the descriptions that given in the Nectar of Devotion, for instance, is the relationship between Bhishma Dev and Krishna, who, as we remember, they had a showdown, well, almost had a showdown in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Krishna tricked Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma Dev in return tricked Krishna, so they tricked each other. And Prabhupada explains, the Acharyas explains, they have this chivalrous fighting spirit. And who better to fight with Krishna than his intimate devotees like Bhishma Dev? Right? All those arrows that pierced. Well, actually, so yeah. So these emotions are also discussed, and also, for instance, the different emotions, the different qualities that Krishna has. Sometimes Krishna is very naughty. Sometimes Krishna is full of humor, laughing. Sometimes Krishna is dhira, sober, no smile, very contemplative. And we can see this also when Mahaprabhu came back from his travels, and when he was reflecting about the people that he met on his travels before he got to Mayapur, he was chuckling to himself, and people were amused. And if you look at the Krishna book, the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Bhagavatam, when the crane demon swallowed the cowherd boys, Krishna stood there, and it's described, he was bewildered. For a moment, he was bewildered. He just couldn't understand. And the boys themselves were so bewildered, they walked straight into the beaks of this demon. And so these are the emotions. Vaishnavas are connoisseurs of emotions. So when people say you have to neglect your emotions, that's not really the Vaishnava ways. Of course, it doesn't mean that one has to be too obsessed with material emotions, but one has to understand how these moves. And you will see with your next teacher in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the very first verse, Krishna says this very important point. Anyway, so text number 23 and 25, that's fear and awe. In 32, that famous verse, time I am the destroyer of the worlds. And then in text 41 to 44, Arjuna's apology. And it's interesting that, this Arjuna gets so bewildered that he doesn't know where is north, where is left. He doesn't know where is up, where is down. He's just so confused. And then he begins to apologize to Krishna out of this fear. And then text 52 to 53, the superiority of devotional service and the two-handed form. One of the verses, of course, it appears twice in the Bhagavad Gita. In this verse, and of course in the last chapter of this great book, in the 18th chapter, which is a summary of all these other verses, of all these other chapters. So in okay, chapter 11. So we'll look at Arjuna's request, which is 1 to 12, chapter 1 to 12. Can somebody, verses 1 to 12, can somebody read those verses?
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else other than Purushottam Yatra? Thank you for offering Purushottam Yatra, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 11, verse 1. Arjuna said, by my hearing the instruction you have kindly given me about this most confidential spiritual subject, my illusion has now been dispelled. 11.2. O Lotus Hide One, I have heard from you in details about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personality, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into the cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. The Supreme Personality of God has said, my dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulence, hundreds of thousands of varied divine and multicolored forms. O best of the Bharata, see here the different manifestation of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Asvina, Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you can can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold behold my mystic opulence. Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the supreme lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed this universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form all limited mouths, limited height, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared all over his body. All was wonders, brilliant, unlimited, all expounding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Pranapriya. So this is where we see Arjuna is requesting, as I explained, to see the universal form of the Lord, because he's enticed, just like all of us. When we hear something amazing, we want to see it. And the whole process of Krishna consciousness works in the same way. We hear Krishna, and when we develop, according to the nectar of devotion, when we develop that attachment to Krishna, then we wish to see him. So that's how it works. You hear first and you see. But in this conditioned aspect, we want to see first. And sometimes, as I keep emphasizing, we see, but we don't see. We see the deities in front of us, but we don't still see the deities. We only see our minds, because really our vision, we see the world through the contents of our mind. So, so Prabhupada explains in the purport to the very first text. This chapter reveals Krishna as the cause of all causes. He is the cause of the Mahavishnu, from whom the material universes emanate. Krishna is not an incarnation. He is the source of all incarnations. And this is established, of course, in that very same book that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described as self-effulgent and self-explanatory, self-revealing, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam, and Krishna is the origin of all the other gods, all the other incarnations, rather. And something interesting about the word avatar, there's two words to the word avatar, ava and atar. Ava and tar. And ava means to cross over, to cross over. So avatar is someone who crosses over. And crossing over means to cross over with the same body, the same consciousness, everything. So that's an avatar. Whereas reincarnation is a different concept. This is a concept where the soul enters the body, it becomes animated. This is the actual technical definition of to reincarnate, to incarnate, to become embodied. So the soul become embodied. So Prabhupada is explaining that Krishna is not an incarnation. He is the source of all incarnations. That has been completely explained in the last chapter. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he says that his illusion is over. This means that Arjuna no longer thinks of Krishna as a mere human being, as a friend of his, but as the source of everything. Arjuna is very enlightened and is glad that he has such a great friend as Krishna. But now he's thinking that although he may accept Krishna as a source of everything, others may not. So again, Prabhupada is emphasizing the point that Arjuna is Krishna's constant companion, Nara and Narayan themselves, and so he's taken the role of the jiva to teach us. It's not that he's bewildered. So this is the point here. So in order to establish Krishna's divinity for all, he's requesting Krishna in this chapter to show his universal form. Now Prabhupada says something interesting in the next text. He says, Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as lotus-eyed. Krishna's eyes appear just like petals of a lotus flower. Out of his joy, for Krishna has assured him in a previous chapter, Aham Krishnasya Jagata Prabhava Pralayas Tatha. I am the source of the appearance and disappearance of this entire manifestation. Arjuna has heard of this from the Lord in detail. Arjuna further knows that in spite of his being the source of all appearances and disappearances, aloof from them. So this is the joy. This is the joy. So Arjuna is saying this again, as I mentioned, is a combination of emotions. That fear that's been building up from the previous chapter. At the same time, there's that awe that Krishna is all these things. I am of bodies of water, the ocean, and of all these. It inspires this awe. And at the same time, Prabhupada is explaining here that there's joy also because there's an assurance from Krishna by Krishna to Arjuna. So there's there's one chapter where you actually see the movement of emotions. You see how Arjuna moves from one state of emotions to another. And so we should also not be bewildered when we feel certain ways. Emotions are not something, we are not Buddhists. We are not Buddhists. Buddhists want to kill emotions. Prabhupada, would often say that these people are trying to turn themselves into stone because a stone can't think, a stone can't move. It's just a stone, it has no emotions. And we are Vaishnavas, we are personalists, not impersonalists. So the movement of emotion is something that is a part and parcel of Vaishnavism. So it's not to be neglected. And so therefore I've also mentioned previously, for instance, that when one is depressed, don't try to cure that with the chanting of the holy name. Go and see somebody with the help, or speak to somebody. So this is a beautiful chapter in that regard, in that it also gives that aspect of emotions. So this is the joy. And as we see, one of the things that we are very good as human beings is that when we are excited about something, when we want to hear something from somebody, the first thing we do, for most of us, is we flatter. Oh, dear Purushottam, oh, best of the brahmacharis, oh, best of all the dressers of Prabhupada, oh, best of the preachers, oh, best of the book distributors. You're such an amazing devotee, incredible devotee. Hey, I'm going out to visit somebody. Can you save me prasadam? The goal is to get prasadam, but to get the prasadam, I have to flatter him and say all these nice things so he feels good about himself. It's human nature. Arjuna is doing the same thing here. He's calling Krishna lotus-eyed one, right? He's flattering Krishna. That's another thing. This just shows the personal aspect of Vaishnavas. We don't try to depersonalize ourselves. Try to turn ourselves into stones. You feel something, you feel something. But there has to be a healthy way of doing it. In other words, if somebody is dealing with emotions, they shouldn't go to the temple and lash out at people because they're dealing with something. And let's say, you're having difficulty at work. Your boss is giving you a hard time because that's the nature of the material world. And then you get home and you start treating your children badly, your wife badly, or your husband badly because you had a bad day. You go to the temple, especially if you occupy a responsible position. You get there, you are irritated from what happened in the past, and You know, Raghupati comes running around with his friends, and then you just blow up. Hey, you! This is the temple room, and fire starts coming out of your ears. And this is an offense because, you know, you don't speak with Vaishnavas like that. There's nowhere, absolutely nowhere in the Vaishnav Shastra, in the Bhakti Shastra, where a Vaishnava is screamed at another Vaishnava. Nowhere. Read the Chaitanya Charitamrita. There's nowhere. Prabhupada never ever raised his voice at his disciples. Never ever. He got angry. He chastised them. They could see Prabhupada. They say when Prabhupada was angry, his lips would tremble. They could see Prabhupada was angry, but he never yelled at anybody. So where do we get this thing that to correct somebody, we have to yell at them? And especially in front of other devotees, in front of the deities. This is a demoniac mindset. It's not Vaishnavism. A lot of the things that we have imported into Vaishnavism, and it's not, you know, and I say this part that I'm saying is this is from the Vrajbasi Samhita. This is my analysis of what I've seen, and this is based on, this is based on the services that I've done for the GBC. I've been a part of quite a several task teams, task forces that were tasked by the GBC to do certain research. And I won't go into any details, but one of those researches was the statement in Srila Prabhupada's Emotions. I mean, Srila Prabhupada's statement in his books. You know, Prabhupada criticizes black people, like, for instance, the famous conversation where Prabhupada said the black people in Detroit were drunkards, criminals, and troublemakers, right? That's a very famous part. And there's many other parts, very controversial parts of Srila Prabhupada's books that devotees were complaining. And at that time, there was a big controversy. There was a big controversy about the racism in ISKCON, the homophobia in ISKCON. Homophobia means, you know, the gays, lesbian, they being denied access to perform devotional service or being called names, you know, all sorts of things that Prabhupada had said. And so I was one of the devotees, a team of worldwide devotees that were chosen to actually see how this can be resolved. So we spent 2.5 years studying, researching, and interviewing all different types of devotees. Radhanath Maharaj, Giriraj Swami, my Guru Maharaj. I was still around back then, but Tita Maharaj wasn't around, so he was gone. So we invited everybody from every region, from Africa to India, different types of places. So when I say that I have a sense of what I'm talking about, this is based on experience. And so this is why I'm prefacing what I'm about to say with this particular statement. That this mood, this very very aggressive mood that we have we have the audacity to do what Prabhupada and the acharyas haven't done, like chastising somebody or even taking a service away from somebody. Prabhupada, there's a famous conversation where somebody had stolen, and he was kicked out of the temple, and it was causing a lot of troubles, and the disciples wanted Prabhupada to cut him out and just disown him, and Prabhupada refused. He said, "Who am I to disown him?" Nityananda Prabhu didn't disown Jagai and Madai after they hit him on the head, so who am I to? And yet we have people that would take a service away from a devotee, something that would be a connection for that devotee to Krishna. Of course, there are instances where this is very necessary, where somebody is endangering. Like I was in Ghana one morning. We were chanting in the morning, and somebody came and he was screaming, "This is my temple! This is my temple! I am Prabhupada." I mean, I couldn't hear because I was in the temple, but I could hear some stuff. Purushottam Yatta will remember this. This is my temple. And he went to Bhakti Maharaj's Samadhi area. It was causing a lot of trouble. So devotees grabbed him and threw him out. They threw him out. And some devotees were looking at me, and they came to me, is this right? And I said, yes, it is. It is right. That's management's duty. They did the right thing. You don't endanger other devotees' lives and the temple by just being compassionate in the mode of ignorance. So managers have a tough duty to balance these two things that I'm speaking about. But so what I'm saying is that we should not just be too overly emotional about things and say, Rajbasi said we should. So that's so what I've seen is that ISKCON, there's a move that history moves, everything, it moves in time. And ISKCON, as we know it, Prabhupada tried to establish ISKCON in India. He wasn't successful. He himself will admit to that. He started the League of Devotees in India, and he only had one disciple, who was also, at least from what we're hearing, he was very difficult. Prabhupada would give him instruction, and he wouldn't follow his instruction, right? And then Prabhupada went to America, where he had like huge success. So ISKCON, as we know it, originates in America. Modern day ISKCON originates in America. And Americans have a different mood. This is not a judgment or a criticism of America. As I mentioned in previous places, every region has its own mood. People are different in every places. So you can't judge one area by using the yardstick that you use for another place. That's just illogical. So, that's, and then Americans have a different mood. They're very confrontational. I've lived in the US for many years. For more than a decade, I lived there. They're very confrontational. If you say something wrong, they will confront you directly. Even in the Vyasa, if you say something wrong, I mean, I think I gave this example of my first experience in ISKCON San Diego giving class. So, I was co-president, and ISKCON San Diego at the time, there was like more disciples of Prabhupada than everybody else. So we went there, we were requested to help fix the temple. So my very first Srimad Bhagavatam class, I sat down and I gave what I thought, because I knew there were Prabhupada disciples, I was warned, and I was very, very prepared. And I sat there, I gave class. I was nervous, but also very confident because I had prepared. And then it was question and answer session. They grilled me. I felt like, have you ever felt like you wish the earth could just open, it could just disappear? That's how I felt. I was sweating. I was struggling to remember verses, shlokas, because of the pressure. But that experience helped me. It built me, because it taught me not to accept just anything that anybody just says. So the point is, Americans have, even if you look, for instance, and I'm speaking, this is a Bhakti Sastri class, and as you know me, I speak openly, especially if it's irrelevant to our Shastric studies. If you look at Facebook right now, you see there is a group of devotees in our movement that this is what they say. They are standing up for children, abused children in our movement in ISKCON. It's become a big thing now that it can't be hidden anymore, because the courts in India have gotten involved now. As early as on the 16th, I got communication that the courts in India are getting involved. So it doesn't help us to sweep things under the carpet. So you have these devotees, very, very, very prominent on Facebook, and they have this Facebook page, child protection, whatever, on Facebook there, and they have no filters. They've called out senior devotees that you and I, we respect and we worship. They've called them out for child abuse. They pushed so much that they had to get the previous, what's Maharaj's name now? Bhakti Vidyapurna Maharaj, who was one of my favorite lecturers or teachers. They got him kicked out of Mayapur because of these allegations. And now he's in white. Now he's in white and he's no longer a member of ISKCON because they pushed him out. So I'm just giving you the mood that the Americans are. They don't take nonsense. You see also in what's happening now with Donald Trump, right? The Americans are standing up. Millions of them, though, that no King's March, right? Millions of people stand up. In Africa, we keep quiet. Oh, he's the president. Oh, he's the prime minister. He's right. Whatever he does, okay. Even in India, it's the same thing. Oh, he's the president. He can do whatever he likes, right? So third world mindset is like that. Whatever the leader says, we accept without questioning it. And we always run into difficulty. So, having said this, so there's always that good with everybody. Just like there's the good with Africans, and there's the bad with Africans. And Prabhupada speaks about this in his purpose, and this makes people very uncomfortable, right? There's also the good. Americans also, there's the good, there's also the bad. So one of the challenges, they say that, anyway. So one of the things that we've adopted as Africans is this American mood. So much so that when we speak to each other, I don't know what you call it in West Africa, but in the southern parts of Africa, we call it Ubuntu. Ubuntu means I am because you are. I see the humanity in you. So when I speak with you and I interact with you, even if when I'm angry with you, I still sense that person. But now in ISKCON, what's happened is that for Africans, we've become like American minds in a third world country, and it does not work. So instead of becoming Vaishnavas in Africa with an African mindset, we've adopted that. These are very aggressive, and it's ruining things. I know one very, I'll just say his name because this is an open discussion. I'm spending a lot of time on this because this is important, and it's speaking about emotions and states of mind. So it's very pertinent. So His Holiness Bhakti Singha Maharaj told me once that he noticed something about Africans, South Africans, black South Africans specifically. Now, I'm not speaking about West or East Africa here. He says that he noticed that when we join from, when we come from wherever we are, our homes, our cultures, we move into ISKCON, he's noticed that usually because in African settings, in an African home setting, you don't do whatever you want in a house. The father is there to kick your behind. He'll kick your ass if you try to act up. The mother will take the broom and beat you with the broom. So you don't do what you want in an African household. So we are cultured everywhere. This is north, east, west, south. We are cultured that way. So we all come from cultured households. Even in the most poorest of families, a single mother will teach the child to be cultured. Respect other people. We're taught every African is taught this. Now Maharaj was saying, you notice that when black South Africans come to ISKCON, they give this up and they adopt this Western mind, this mood. They give up the respect. They give up all the stuff that makes us Africans. We cannot deny this body. We are born on this continent. We have a certain psychophysical nature. We have a certain nature. We have certain strong points, right? And like one of those lack of strong points, and I speak about this openly with Africans, and I get a lot of criticism and flack for it. But there is, for instance, there is no country in the world that's run by an African that's successful. I'll repeat that again. There is no African country, there's no country in the world that is run by black people that's successful. Not South Africa, not Botswana, not Ghana, not Nigeria, not Burkina Faso, not Niger, none of these countries. We are the breeding ground of tyrants. There's a there's a saying of white South Africans here. They, in apartheid days, they had this saying that a boer maak 'n plan. I forget the. So this is Afrikaans. A boer maak 'n plan. There's a second part of it. I don't know Afrikaans. So, and the first part is a boer maak 'n plan means a white man always make a plan. Then the second part of this statement is, and a black man f's it up. We can see it. I mean, you go to Kenya, when the British were there, they built something amazing. Here in South Africa, same thing. Nigeria was the same thing. All across the continent was the same thing when the British were there. And now, so this is the danger when one, and this is called, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is called V-Dharma, right? It's a cheating religion when one assumes somebody else's position. We're not American. We're not Caucasian. So that's what Maharaj was telling me, that they give up this tradition and then they behave as demons. So again, I'm bringing it up to the discussion where it started, that it's about emotions that move in this chapter, and how the danger of one adopting an emotion that's what's the word, that doesn't really serve them, like yelling at another devotee, something that has never been done by any Vaishnava. And yet we see it everywhere you go, devotees yelling at each other. It's one thing to correct, it's another thing to be yelling at another devotee because you're frustrated about something. So so this is my long discussion here about the importance of emotion, because Prabhupada also here brings out the part about joy and about emotions and about this. So we have to be honest with ourselves, deal with emotions as they come. If you are angry, acknowledge that you are angry. We are not pure. One of the challenges is, and this is from Ravindra Swarup Prabhu, I mentioned this previously, one of the challenges is that we pretend to occupy a position that we are not in. Somebody is not pure, but they cheat others by giving out this external facade that says, I'm a pure devotee, I'm good, I have no issues, when actually they are burning inside, they're suffering inside. That's not a very intelligent thing to do. All right. So we ended in text number 12. Let's see. In text number 4, Prabhupada said, it is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, nor perceive the Supreme Lord Krishna by the material senses. But if one is engaged in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation, not by own strength. So we don't see Krishna. And this is again giving strength to the statement that I shared with you, that that Maharaj shared with me from India. That when I went, he asked me where I'm going. I said, I'm going to temple room to go see the deities. He chastised me. Who are you? You don't have the eyes to see the deities. You are going in front of the deities. You're going to present yourself in front of the deities so Krishna can see you, because you don't have the eyes to see Krishna. And so this is why we are clean when we go to the temple room. When we present ourselves in somebody who is very honored like Krishna, then we bow down, clean underwear, clean dhoti, clean mindset, clean consciousness, then we present ourselves. So Prabhupada is saying here that Krishna can only see Krishna by revelation, not by your own strength. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark. Therefore, it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. Now, here's something interesting in text number 6. Even though Arjuna was a personal friend of Krishna and the most advanced of learned men, it was still not possible for him to know everything about Krishna. Here it is stated that humans have neither heard nor known all of these forms and manifestation. Now Krishna reveals these wonderful forms. So Krishna is known as Tribhanga Sundar, right? He bends in 3 places. And when he walks, he doesn't walk straight. Krishna's walking is described as a mad, drunken elephant. It doesn't walk straight. It walks with a swagger, left to right, to left to right, like somebody who's drunk. That's how Krishna walks. And whenever he stands, Krishna doesn't stand straight. You never seen Krishna stand straight. And Prabhupada, the acharyas explained, this is because nobody can understand Krishna. So you try to catch him, because he doesn't walk straight. You try to catch him, he moves. Just like, what was his name now? That sadhu that went to Vrindavan and cut his eyes out because he was attached to the prostitute. Anyway, so he cut his eyes out, and Krishna appeared personally to give him some milk for a few days in succession. And on the last day, he decided, this young man gives me feelings that nobody gives me. When he's around me, my hair is standing on end, my heart is beating faster, and there's only one person that can make me feel this way. It's Krishna. So next time I see him, I'm going to catch him. Because now he's blind, he can't see. I'm going to catch him. Right? And then Krishna went next day and he gave him his cup of milk. And then he was like, got you! But Krishna slipped away because nobody can catch Krishna. Not even Krishna's friends. Although we know that Krishna wrestles with his friends in Vrindavan and they climb on his shoulders and all of that. All right, so the universal form is not the original form of God, right? Remember that it's not the original form of God. This is the same form that's described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. When you do your Bhakti Vaibhav, it's a temporary revelation. And it's a revelation to somebody who's qualified. You have to qualify yourself. You have to be in a position. See, for you to qualify yourself, for us to receive something, one has to be in a position to receive it. That's like with knowledge. I'm trying to share this Bhagavad Gita knowledge that I've received from my teachers with you, and you have to be in a position to receive it. And what is that position to receive it? Which means you have to follow the instructions of the teacher, you have to read, you have to study, you have to do all these things, right? And without these, you are not in any position to receive knowledge. It's simple as that. It's like if you go to university. If you go to university, to get your degree, you have to be in a position to receive your degree. And that position means you have to study, you have to attend lectures, you have to do all these things. If you don't do these things, then you are not in a position to receive your degree. The same thing with Krishna consciousness, right? We have to present ourselves before Krishna. We have to be in a position to receive bhakti. Krishna.
Today, na soldier send me picture. Oh boy, I see this girl for taking part with gun. I say, God, the fuck. If you know this kind of girl, if you know this kind of girl, best for us as a wife, so I'm going to tumble you. I don't do it. I don't hear soldiers be take out.
Pastor Elvis.
He said the girl who money. Go come or go. What them do now? What them do now? He said the girl they just they fight that war. They no say what they for just now. Yes. Say the girl they fight them.
Pastor Elvis, rude. Pastor Elvis.
John, a very fresh, very fine girl. Like
Pastor
this.
Elvis.
Yeah, they fear me.
Dr. Elvis,
Elvis.
please mute. Dr. Elvis, please mute.
I said the pastor.
Dr. Elvis, please can you hear from us?
The woman from that woman, who bless her soul from Delta. Delta Igbo.
Admin, please can you meet him for us?
Now
Yeah,
they
host,
make me.
can you meet him for us?
No. This place now, like no. Not keep this. No, no, do like say one person. Don't go back to a normal sense. Say, no, no, that's why. Now that's what they tell you now. So I don't ask my mom, say, you don't feel the girl. She says she like person like me. She saying the kindness upper way.
Mother Master me, please, are you on board? Can you meet Dr. Elvis for us?
She say, now that kind of person she defines. Okay. Oh. I tell people come the other day now. Hey, see my brother. What happened to your man? Baby, how are you? I love you in your life.
All right, like I said, for one to receive knowledge, one has to be in a position to receive it. And to receive it, that position means certain things one has to do. We'll take a break. We'll be back at 12:40. Hare Krishna.
Please, anybody have Dr. Elvis' number?
He's offline now.
That
Hare Krishna. You're not hearing, you know. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We're not hearing here. Oh. Those are not you.
We are
Hare
on
Krishna.
break, please. We are on break.
Okay.
We
Okay.
are on break.
So you can go and eat it. Okay. Okay, good. Okay,
Yes.
no problem.
And we are returning 10:40.
Okay, 10:40.
All right, somebody can read 13 to 31. You can split it into two. One can read half, the other one the last half. And only those that have not read should read.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Raghupa,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purushottam Prabhu, you can go ahead. Purushottam
text,
and Raghupati. So you can do the first 15 and then the last ones Raghupati can.
okay, Prabhu. Text 13. At the time Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Text 14. Then, bewildered and astonished, his head standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. 15. Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. Raghupati, you can continue, please.
Okay. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O great one, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All the host of demigods are surrounded before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfect beings, carrying all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Satyas, the Visvedevas, the two Ashwis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. Almighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouth, and your great glowing eyes. My mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness and equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the world, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like face and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons all the sons of the Shasta, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouth, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the as the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouth.
I
I
see
see all
all people rushing full speed into your mouth, as smooth dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouth, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. 31. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. Hare Krishna.
Read 32 also.
Verse 32. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Hare Krishna.
All right, thank you. Okay, so 13. The word tatra, 13. The word tatra there is very significant. It's significant. It indicates that both Arjuna and Krishna were sitting on the chariot when Arjuna saw the universal form. Others on the battlefield could not see this form because Krishna gave the vision only to Arjuna. Arjuna could see in the body of Krishna many thousands of planets. As we learn from Vedic scriptures, there are many universes and many planets. Some of them are made of earth, some are made of gold, some are made of jewels, some are very great, some are not so great, etc. Sitting on his chariot, Arjuna could see all these, but no one could understand what was going on between Arjuna and Krishna. So that's the function of Yoga Maya. They see, but they don't see. Everything is happening in the battlefields, but people don't see it. So some of the features of this Vishvarupa, this universal form of the Lord, is that it has unlimited faces, right? Unlimited arms, unlimited eyes. It contains all beings within it, and it blazes like thousands of suns. And all Arjuna's vision is of all these moths running into fire and being devoured by fire, the mouth of time. And Arjuna sees all of this, the inevitable destruction in the war, because he sees, as Krishna says, all these warriors are rushing towards your mouth, right? So Arjuna sees the results of what is going to happen. the children, the Dhritarashtra's children, are going to die. Many people are going to die. So see Arjuna's emotional transition here, because this has been one of the main themes in our discussion here, right? First, he was astonished. So astonishment is there, and you can check these, by the way. All these emotions are mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion and how they manifest themselves in a devotee. Right? There's a difference between a manifestation of an emotion in a devotee and a non-devotee. So astonished. We've seen Arjuna is astonished. What is astonishment? Let me see what the dictionary says. Astonishment. Okay, so astonishment.
Amazing. Eagerness.
We want to hear the actual dictionary definition. Okay, so astonishment, this is from vocabulary.com. Astonishment is the feeling of overwhelming surprise, wonder, or shock, often occurring when witnessing something impossible or unexpected. So the feeling of overwhelmed surprise, wonder, or shock, often occurring when witnessing something impossible or unexpected. Definition and key aspects. The feeling. It is a state of being profoundly surprised, which can be positive, joy. Prabhupada mentioned that in his purport already. Or negative, shock. We also see this shock in Arjuna. So both emotions are there. He's joyful, but he's also shocked at the same time. He's paralyzed. It arises when witnessing something that does not align with one's understanding of how the world works, such as magic tricks or unexpected news. All right, so this is astonishment. Now let's hear what fear is. So we'll get the dictionary definitions of these and see. So fear, so maybe let me go through all these Arjuna's emotional transition first and then read what they say. So the first one is astonishment. The second one is fear. Right? That's the transition. So he's astonished firstly, which means he's shocked, he's surprised, he's joyful, but he's also in shock. And then suddenly he's fearful. He's trembling. He says, my limbs are trembling. And then he gets overwhelmed. He says himself, what does he say? I can't control myself. What does he say? My mind is reeling, Krishna. Which verse is that? At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe. In one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances with folded hands, began to pray to the Supreme Lord. And then he begins to offer those prayers there. And he says, although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all spaces between, O Great One. Seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. And he says, O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, and so am I. O pervading Vishnu, seeing you in your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. So there you have it. He becomes fearful, then overwhelmed, and then finally, when he becomes overwhelmed, he starts turning to prayer. He starts praying to Krishna. And we all go through these emotions also. We go through these things also. When we are overwhelmed with fear or something, we go down on our knees and we start worshiping God, even if we haven't thought or prayed to God in 5 years. But when fear sets in, yeah, we pray. So those are the I was trying to read the definitions of all these emotions, because often we assume that we know what these emotions mean. Human beings, we function on a level of assumption, because I've been using the word fear all my life. I've been using the word overwhelm all my life, so therefore I know what it is. But sometimes that's not the case. So we'll just hear and read what it says. Fear. Fear is a fundamental survival-oriented human emotion triggered by perceived danger, causing physical reactions like increased heart rate, sweating, and the fight or flight response. Exactly what Arjuna is feeling. And then overwhelm. What does it mean, overwhelm? Being overwhelmed is a state of feeling submerged, paralyzed, or unable to cope with excessive demands, emotions, or responsibility. It often manifests as stress, anxiety, or physical fatigue when task exceeded capacity. And we all have experience of this. Sometimes you are with your loved ones, with your friends, and you are so happy and you are laughing so hard that you clutch your heart and tell the person, please stop, I can't take this anymore. You'll kill me with your jokes. You'll kill me with this joy, right? We also do like that. I mean, I remember once seeing one devotee. Those days I used to own a camera. I was back in the. I used to take my camera everywhere. Record devotees when they're distributing books or pujari, and I would put it together in a short clip. That was long before the digital cameras and all these stuff. So you had the big ass camera you had to carry around. So I used to carry it around. And one occasion, I think it was at Janmastami, so the kirtan is intense, and I'm recording. Devotees are jumping up and down. There's ecstasy. And I zoom in on one particular Mataji. She's chanting and dancing. And because everybody is absorbed in their own emotions, so nobody's really seeing what the next person is doing. This usually happens when when the kirtan is really, really, really ecstatic, and it's focused on Krishna, not how I dance and not how beautifully I sing. When there's bhakti, it's very attractive. So I saw this young lady leave the kirtan, and I'm following her. I don't want her to see me. I'm following her with the camera, and I still have it. And then she goes behind where it's dark, and then she sits down and she starts bawling, crying. Like tears, like not normal tears. You know when they say when Mahaprabhu cries and then there's like these tears that come squirting from his eyes and they wet everybody that's next to him, or something like that. Not as intense, but something like that. She just couldn't control herself. And this wasn't somebody who's a, big leader. There was somebody that most people don't even look twice. They come, they do their service, they leave, and nobody really pays much notice. But she was having these symptoms. And as I was zooming in, I could see the hairs on her hand were standing on end. That's ecstasy. So this is what happened. She was overwhelmed. She just couldn't stay in the kirtan and continue because the emotion content was too strong, so she had to go. Even Prabhupada also, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta also, Prabhupada had an instance where he was giving class, and it's recorded, by the way. You can listen to it. Prabhupada is singing Jarada Madhava, then he gets choked up with emotions. And he just couldn't speak anymore. Starts crying, couldn't speak. So the disciples were intelligent enough, and they started the kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. While Prabhupada was composing himself. Same thing with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. It said that he would sit on the Vyasasana and try to give class, and these emotions would overwhelm him. He would just get up and leave. He would just get up and leave. So it's not that these emotions are only for pure devotees. When devotees are actually, especially on days like Janmashtami, and you spend the whole day just like doing service, you forget everything else, you will definitely feel these emotions. They're not like exclusive for a few. But like I said, one has to put oneself in a position to receive those. You can't be like that Mataji, and you can't be expect to have the ecstasy that the Mataji has when you haven't put the effort, when you haven't put yourself in a position. She came from early morning Mangalati. She never left, went back home. She stayed a whole day until midnight, running from doing this service and that service, being chastised, but she didn't care. So she deserved the ecstasy. And so when we look at her and we say, well, I want that ecstasy. Why is it I'm chanting Hare Krishna and my hands are not standing on hand? I've been chanting for 30 years. I haven't had a... It's because you haven't put yourself in a position. Just like what happened before we took a break. As a student, you have to put yourself in a situation, in a position to receive knowledge. If you don't put yourself in a situation where you receive knowledge, then you lose. The mood of the teacher is very important. I mean, I remember seeing something when I was in varsity. I used to depend, I mean, I still do to a large degree, depend on myself, my own strength. If I can't get something, that's it. So I don't really dwell on. So I used to study by myself, and I was struggling, and universities in South Africa are very, in those days it was very, this apartheid was still there, and so it was all these cliques, and I was having difficulty. I mean, I was doing my first year at the time, and one of the subjects that I had was statistics, and it really kicked my behind because I didn't do it in school, so it was a new subject to me in varsity, so I was struggling like anything. So after class, I remember I waited for everybody to go because I wanted to go to the lecturer to ask them something, to clarify some stuff. So I stayed back. And then there were some students that went to him to ask something. But the way they did it was as if they were entitled. It was like, I'm a student, I pay the university, you're a teacher, you get paid, so you have to answer me, So they had that mood that like it's, you have to. And these were like white students, and it was a white lecturer. And, they were like this demanding. And so he gave them an answer. So after they left, I went to him when the class was empty by then. When I was packing his stuff, I went to him. And I appreciated him. And I told him I saw the exchange with the white students and I didn't appreciate it, and that's not how I was brought up. And then I started to ask him questions. You know what he did? He said to me, "Come with me to my office." So I helped him carry his stuff to his office, and we spent the next 3 hours with him helping me with statistics. And he said to me, "If you have any difficulty, my office is open." You don't do it. That never happens. I became the professor's pet student because I paid attention. I asked in the right mood. I followed his instruction. So he liked me. And by the end of the year, I aced statistics, a subject that I just learned in the first year. I aced it. So if one doesn't behave properly towards the teacher, you're not going to really get the full benefit. You can get the technical stuff, but knowledge doesn't just come with information. It comes with emotions. It comes with the mood of the teacher. And if that's not there, you lose as a student. I've said this many, many times. I've asked these devotees, I've asked. Now you see I turn my camera off because I don't bother anymore. Right? I've said things over and over and over and over. And devotees still do it. And we wonder why our temples are struggling. We wonder why there's so much infighting and conflict in our temples. We wonder why we don't like each other, we don't get along. Because we are unable to imbibe this mood of Krishna consciousness. Let's start with, what did Krishna say in the 7th chapter? Tat Shrinu starts with listening, with hearing. If you can't hear instructions, you're going to have a hard time. Okay, so let's see. 13 to 30 something. I lost my place. So astonishment, fear, overwhelm, prayer, and surrender, right? So with this form, you can also see that Krishna is really the controller. And in text number 32, you can see that no one can oppose Krishna's will. Right? Excuse me. The Supreme Personality said, "Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore, get up prepared to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemy and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. You already put them to death by my arrangement. And you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight." It's the same thing when I like this verse because it's the same thing that applies to us. We can put ourselves in a position to receive Srila Prabhupada's mercy, which is always there, by following his instructions, by preaching Krishna consciousness. Or we can choose not to. Mahaprabhu said, "Every town and village my name will be chanted." Right now, everybody is questioning whether this will happen or not, whether it's just symbolical or it's figurative or whatever, right? Because it's so difficult to preach. Like in South Africa, preaching is dead. Preaching is dead. It's the regular, every Friday, devotees go on Harinam, they stick to a corner and they chant, which is beautiful, they chant the holy name. And then after that, in a very corner, in one corner, and after that they pick up, they go home, they have the programs. Temples are there's no Africans in our temples, none whatsoever. I'm one of the very few that are here. Since I stopped managing, and there's no preaching. And I also see in other parts of the world, like in West Africa, for instance, we wonder why we don't attract like high quality people to our movement. We wonder why, and this is not this is not like a personal judgment on people. it's just an observation that we have no standards. Anybody can come in our temples. They come today and tomorrow they are full-time devotee. Start smoking weed in the temple, start stealing money. We don't know this person. And somebody who lives in, whether it's somewhere in West Africa in the suburbs, who's intelligent and has like some powerful influence. They come to the temple and they look around, they see this temple residents looking around. You look at their eyes, it's like they are red. You can see this man is high. This man is high. You can tell it. He is like doped out. Right? Like I was in one temple. Anyway, let me not mention the place. I was in one, this is not in West Africa, in another part of Africa. So, Krishna. So, I'm going on a japa walk in the morning, to stretch my legs. To walk. A country in Africa, not South Africa, not West Africa. And when I'm walking, I see this devotee. He plays mean drum. His drum is amazing. So and he's a great singer. I see him coming, and I'm seeing that he is walking like Krishna. Like a drunken elephant, like sideways. And I'm looking at him from a distance. I can see his eyes are bloodshot like Balaram after he drinks his varu. And I can see the man is drunked out. He is drunk. He is maybe a combination of being high and drunk. And he has like a big black eye on his face. And later on, because this was like Sunday morning, and later on I asked the temple commander, like, I saw this. And he was like, yeah, Prabhu, he has a problem. We've been trying to help him. And, I said, you allow him to stay? He said, yeah, I mean, the temple president wants to be merciful unto him. And, if I try to kick him out, the temple president says we need people and, we should keep him. And, Krishna consciousness works. And I said, that's sad to see. Because no intelligent person will come and become a devotee when they see this. You can't have somebody coming from Accra or from Lagos, one of these suburbs there into a temple. They walk in and they see drunk people, they see people that are high. They see no etiquette. I told this story before when I was in, and I'll mention this, when I was in Lagos after the Sunday program. I gave class and I was going, somebody asked me a question, and while I was answering somebody's question, I saw a devotee come out. I saw somebody, a guest, come out with a plate of prashadam, and then he ate a little bit and he threw it in the bin. And one devotee, very senior devotee, saw this, and he went ballistic. He went ballistic. Hey, are you wasting food? He went, and I went off on him. I chastised him, even though he was senior than me. But I couldn't just stand there and let him abuse a guest who comes for the first time. So I told him when to get off. So it's not his fault that he's throwing prasadam away. It's the person that served prasadam. Why do devotees have to put so much prasadam in the plate in the first place? Why don't you ask the person how much you want? But we are so over enthusiastic, overwhelmed like Arjuna, we just slap, yeah, this is prasadam, it'll purify you. Take more, take more. And some people don't eat as much. Like, for instance, West Africans are usually surprised when they come to South Africa and they see that South Africans don't eat much. They just eat a little bit. What West Africans eat, I mean, I see you guys can eat. That's why you are so big. You're so huge. You eat. You really eat. It's not a moral. It's just people eat there. I mean, I see Gora I see all the Bhaktas in Lagos. I mean, they can really eat, right? Accra, same thing. I mean, in Ghana, same thing. Yeah, and some people don't really eat that much, right? Just pick, and then it's like very picky eater. That's why we are so thin. and so small. Anyway, so I lost my train of thought now. What was I speaking about? Oh yeah, so when somebody who's intelligent wants to become a devotee, they come for the first time, they see all these things, no, thank you. And I can tell you, in both temples, I've had devotees, devotees that have been around, they're making good money. I had one devotee come to see me. I won't mention which temple. He came to see me and he was complaining about stuff. I'm giving money, and yet people, I give money. Every month I give so much money. I've sponsored a laptop to this devotee. I've sponsored because they wanted to do service. I've sponsored this. I've sponsored that. And when they see me at the temple, the first thing they do is what? Prabhu, I need money. Prabhu, I need a phone. Prabhu, I need a laptop. He says, now I don't go to the temple anymore because I don't have a chance to worship Krishna. I go there, management wants this, the devotees in the temple wants that, and they are not thankful. And this is one of the things that hurt him the most, is that he bought this laptop for the devotee because the devotee wanted to do some service, and the devotee didn't even say thank you. It's like we have this entitlement just because we belong to the same institution and somebody makes more money, so therefore he has to give me money. He has to support me. Nonsense. He doesn't have to. If you're that desperate for money, go find a job like all the honest people in the world. Don't hide behind being a brahmachari in the ashram. Don't deceive people. Don't do this cheating dharma of pretending. Go find a job. Be like everybody else, on the side of the road selling stuff and struggling. Don't use other devotees' hard work for your sense gratification. All right, so that's the famous verse, Time I Am, and I think it's one of your key memory verses. Actually, I think we should stop here, and then tomorrow we can finish. So we're on track in the next 2 weeks to finish by the end of April. We will be done with the Bhakti Sastri, and you can have your weekends back, and you can dance and celebrate and jubilate. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I am free at last. Are there any questions or comments before we end? Going once? Okay, Purushottam Yatra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. There is something I've seen in the text 25 also. The last statement Arjuna made, that in all directions I am bewildered. Like it seems to be part of the emotion you were
Sorry, Prabhu,
describing.
can you repeat it? Can you start from the beginning? I missed it.
I was saying text 25.
25, okay.
Arjuna
Just wait 1 second.
Arjuna
Just wait for me to get to 25. Yeah?
the last sentence, last statement he said in direction is bewildered also. It seems to be part of the emotion that you were describing.
In text number 25?
And 25. Oh Lord of
Oh, Lord
Lords,
of Lords.
oh refuge.
Yeah. Go on. Read it.
Oh refuge of the world. Please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing that your blazing jet light faces, powerful teeth. In all directions, I am bewildered. The
Very
bewildered
good. Very good.
is it part of the emotions?
Yes.
And also my question. This is my question. Is about the
Wait. Before you ask your questions, let's find the definition of bewildered, and then you can ask your question. so that we don't assume we know what bewildered is, right? Bewildered refers to being utterly confused, perplexed, or lost, often due to complex or contradictory situations. Synonyms include baffled, befuddled, bemused, and at sea, while antonyms include clear-headed, understanding, and oriented. Yeah. So very good for picking that up. Yeah. Go ahead.
So about my question, about the researches you were doing or the about the homophobians before, were they given the chance to practice devotional service at last?
Yeah. So it depends. It depends on the leadership. In some places, people judge that they have, everybody has their own opinions about everybody else. You have an opinion about me, I have an opinion about you, and so people have an opinion about everybody. And so some people have an opinion about whether being gay is right or not, but that doesn't stop them from serving the devotees, engaging them in service and so forth. Whereas in some places, because I have an emotional feeling towards this type of behavior, therefore I take service away from this devotee and I treat them badly. So it depends on the consciousness of the person, right? It's like Christ said, hate the sinner. Hate the sin, not the sinner. But what we do often is we hate the sin and the sinner. When I was in the US, and he's very prominent. You can also contact him if you want. His name, maybe I'll mention their name at the end. But when I started this course, I showed you some of the services, some of the work that I was doing when I was in the US. You saw pictures of me teaching and pictures of my students and all of those things, right? And in I didn't show you all the pictures, but one of my students, there's a message here. What does it say? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, my screen is challenged. Is he still here or is he gone? He's gone. Okay, Bhakta Unyaka. So anyway, came through our preaching program. We have met on the street, and then and then he became a devotee, because I used to take care of I was co-president, but one of my responsibilities was managing the ashram. So I was a Bhakta leader also, because we were building something at the same time. So he joined, he moved in, and he got trained. He became a full-time brahmachari. He got initiated. His name is, if you want to look him up, Suki Bhakta. Suki Bhakta. You can look him up on Facebook also. You can, he's my student, my former student. And so as life goes on, we lost contact. I travel so much and all of those stuff. And then when he contacted me again, he showed me a picture. It was a picture of him in a sari, and his name now was Suki Bhakta Dasi, or Suki Bhakti Devi Dasi. And he was writing to me, and he was complaining about the stuff that was happening to him. Devotees criticizing him and all of these things, and treating him like he's like a third-class citizen because he's wearing a sari and he's different. Even though he's chanting every day, he doesn't stay in the temple, he works, but he's always there for Mangalati. He's doing service, or he used to do service. They took away his service. And this is in spite of his Guru Maharaj telling him, when he made the transition, His Guru Maharaj said, it's fine, okay, as long as you don't lose your Krishna consciousness. So his Guru Maharaj said, it's fine. It's fine. But everybody else is judging them. Even to today. I mean, now that's, I mean, it's been a few years now, but in many circles, some devotees still accept her or him. He wants to be called her. And when we speak, I find it difficult because I remember him. I remember him as a dude, you know, as a man. But now she's a female, right? This is 2020. This is the environment that we're living in. This is the environment. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna chase the devotee away from the temple, tell him then there's a demon, and being homophobic is demon. Right? What would you do? I mean, he's not in some temple. This is in the U.S., by the way. He's in the U.S. He lives in California, and in some temples they don't like him being around. In some temples they accept him, and he's struggling. Is that okay, Purushottam Yatra?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you very much.
So you notice with me, with this presentation, with this Bhakti Sastri, I've given you different sides, but I've never taken any sides. We spoke about the conflict that was happening between the India Scholars Bureau and Krishna West, i.e. Bhakti Vidya, what's Maharaj's name? He wrote the Brahmachari book. Bhakti Vikash Maharaj and his side, and then Ridananda Maharaj on the side. We spoke about those. We look at the arguments, never took sides. So also in this instance, I'm giving an example and how different people react. I'm not taking any sides. That's my job as a teacher. Not to, it's not my place to tell you this is right, that's wrong. Because as you can see, Gurus told the disciple, it's fine. Everybody else has a problem. Balabhadra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and then
Prabhu,
we'll
are
end
you
with this
hearing me?
because it's 1:30.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna,
go
are you
ahead.
hearing?
We'll end with your question.
Okay. I just want to appreciate your lecture. And even though I feel like I've known so much, I've hearing from people. So by listening to this lecture, the way you present it, and it bring me down to kindergarten level, because I feel the way you analyze things one by one and the etiquette of devotional service. And this area you are talking about the astonishment by going to dictionary to find out the meaning, pick one by one, fear, overwhelming, stress, prayer, surrender, and bewilderment. Without no rushing, you pick it one by one. I'm so much happy. And you're socially, philosophically, devotionally, everything is perfect, Babuji. Thank you for I'm very happy to meet you. And I appreciate the way you are giving things. And also you analyze the etiquette of devotion. We should not become a devotee to be exploiting other or to hide behind or being a devotee to be accusing or also, you mentioned so many things which are so impressive. I really appreciate you and I'm very happy to have you. May you live long for us. I'm here for you more better. Thank you, Babuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Balabhadra Prabhu, for your appreciation. It's said that one should get the blessings of one's elders in order for one to live long and be successful. You are my senior in age and experience in Krishna consciousness, and I know you know a lot more than I do, so I appreciate you sitting patiently as a student in the class and for your contribution and for your appreciation. Thank you, Prabhu. Right, so we can end here. We will meet again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.